Well, good afternoon, everybody. I thought I'd get on here and I watched a video, part of the video last night, and then I finished up this morning and seen something on there disturbing this morning. Went to bed too early to see it last night. So anyway, I wanted to give my 2 cents worth on it. This video happens to have the start of the video, let's put it this way, is a young woman named Michelle. And I'm looking at a video that looks like she was being stalked in a strip mall. It looks like she just picked up a supper to go, apparently from an Asian restaurant. Shows her walk across the parking lot. And you can tell the person that took the video is behind a brick column because the brick column actually shows on the video towards the end of the video. To me, it looks like a stalker. And if I was Michelle, and my understanding is that her young daughter was out in the pickup truck, and so was a gentleman named John. But I would wonder why this person is taking the video, and is it stalking? And it's nighttime. Scary. You start looking over your shoulder and wondering what's next, because this same family, over and over and over, they get death threats on them. This same family, a couple of years ago, there was a song put out about their daughter. It happened to be from a guy named DJ Radis. Okay? He's a rapper. A DJ rapper. And it's about the angel of death paying a visit to their daughter. And this was sent, or actually put out on video, okay, YouTube, on that guy's channel, around the times that they were getting threats on a daily basis about people coming to take their daughter. The mother cried her eyes out. It affected her to the point where she is scared to death of anybody, any stranger that comes near him. Scared to death. Now, funny thing is, this video that came up last night showed up on this rapper, this DJ Radis, okay, his channel last night, of Michelle walking out of a restaurant with a to-go dinner for the family, and films her all the way to her car. Or her, actually it's a Jeep pickup, and they pull out of the parking lot. Now, they had just got off work, and they're on their way home, and it's late. Like I say, it was dark, and they probably didn't feel like cooking a meal, so they got a meal to go. They're normal people. They actually have a booth that they're remodeling at the flea market. That's their business. To give you a little more background into this story, and the reason that I'm hitting so hard on it is because it's only been a little over a week ago that John was in Walmart getting some grocery items. And a gentleman came up to where the registers were, where he was getting ready to check out, and started yelling at him. You see this other gentleman, his name is Jeremy, has a protective order on John and Michelle. The protective order happens to be out of Ohio. And starts yelling at him. My understanding is he was yelling 500 feet, 500 feet. Which means if the guy comes up behind him or from the side is John in violation because he didn't know anybody was there? This isn't the first time that happened in that store. You see, on two sides of the property, there are cameras pointed over the fence and into their backyard or into their front yard, however you want to name it. So they can't do anything outside or going up and down a road without being seen by a camera. They have no privacy. And with a protective order on them, if you have no privacy and you leave your properties, let's say you're going to go to the post office, that might be pretty hard to do, because if somebody decides to go to that post office that has a protective order against you, you apparently have to leave according to that person. It doesn't matter who got there first. When they went to a town hall meeting, yeah, you guessed it, protective order. They can't find out what's going on in town by going to a meeting. Can't go to the post office. Can't go to the grocery store. John had a finding against him because he was walking down the road in front of his house, measuring the fence line. Now, he was on the road, using a walker, okay? He just got through having a knee operation. This guy comes up behind him in the car, or in a truck, and keeps yelling at him, 500 feet, 500 feet, 500 feet. Or actually, there he yelled 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet. Because if they're out on a common road, they have to stay 10 feet apart. Now, it's kind of hard when you have a walker. There's a ditch over there to get away, and you've got a bad knee. But it was turned in to the Ohio courts, and, of course, he was found guilty, and so he's in violation and fined. So, if you live in the town of 500 and there's a half dozen streets, how do you get 500 feet away? How do you stay 500 feet away? Can you ever walk in that town safely without violating that 500-foot order? You have cameras all over that show when you leave the property. If they see you on camera, if they happen to go and find you, which happens on a regular basis, how do you stay 500 feet away? If you can't take a walk, no matter which way you go, they're going to follow you. What do you do? That's scary. You start getting paranoid. And you wonder how many neighbors are involved in this, because I don't know how many neighbors are involved in it. All I know is that last year, Michelle was out on the highway, beside the highway rather, and trying to get down the road. She was meeting somebody that was going to pick her up, take her in to get some parts that she needed for the vehicle. The vehicle wasn't running. They have one vehicle is all. And somebody turned them in for being out there, so the sheriff's department was called. People were coming out there taking pictures of her. And they were put on the YouTube, by the way, up here. No, not mine. It gets to be scary. Now, what do you think this little 5-year-old thinks? I mean, she was 4 and 3 when all this stuff was happening. They've been going through this for a year and a half now. They cannot leave their property safely. They cannot go to the post office safely. They cannot go get groceries safely. Twice they've been accosted at the grocery store. No, I take that back. 3 times now. They cannot go out to supper safely. They cannot get gas for their vehicle safely. They receive death threats weekly. When that song came out, the Death Angel, that was done by DJ Radis, At around that time, they had all these threats come in about somebody taking their daughter. And I told you, she cried her eyes out about this song, scared her. On a regular basis, DJ Radis puts a thing on his channel about a diary that supposedly is being written by Michelle. Yeah, on a regular basis. Very stupid thing. It looks as if she's doing it. Sounds like it because it's an AI situation, where they use a voiceover type thing. This is going on over and over and over to the point of being harassment. My opinion is it is harassment, pure harassment. Okay? The people involved, there's multiple channels that echo the story over and over and over. There's a reporter out there that has said that she was writing a story for or on that town and Michelle, and now has turned it around. Claims that she was more of a mole. And she bites everybody that talks about her. Yeah, she's a real pro. I'm not going to tell you what she's a pro of. Your guess is as good as mine. Well, anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. My question is this. That little town has been talked about and attacked on a channel about the people out there and how they are and what they do. Very negative talk. The Board of Supervisors has been talked about. The Sheriff's Department has been talked about. The judicial system in the county has been talked about. It seems like everybody there has been attacked, and yet the person that did the attack on all these things has got a good amount of people within the area that are following them around. Like minnows behind a catfish picking up the spoils. I wonder why. The channels out there that are talking on behalf of John and Michelle and their little daughter get attacked every single video they put up. Every single video. Mine is attacked multiple times every day. And when they can't find something fresh, they go back on videos from months ago. They cannot stand it for anybody to stand up for John and Michelle and that girl. This girl is going to grow up remembering what happened to her. I want you to think about this. All you parents out there, please just listen to me. If the CPS knocked on your door and said there's been a complaint that you physically abused your children, and we're here to inspect your child, and your children had to be stripped and a picture taken of every inch of their body, and they'd be questioned thoroughly about you and other people that you were around. What would you think about that? What would you think about the neighbors that turned you in? Because if it happened to this little girl, it could happen to anybody in that town or county or state. Anybody that's around this person. Now, by their own video, a video person out there named Jeremy turned them in at least 3 times. A person that's associated with their channel on a regular basis from another state on another coast, opposite coast, on a video, while live, called CPS up to turn them in. Now, how would that person have any inkling about what's going on with that family on the opposite coast whatsoever? The only thing they could do is take the word of somebody in that town. And what if that somebody was wrong? You see, the CPS, at least 27 times, but maybe 30, I mean, it's somewhere in between there, has been out there. Or it's not CPS, I forget what they call it, but it is the Child Protective Service, Family and Service. They inspected it with no violations, none whatsoever. And they've been out there and took urine tests of this little girl and the mother to make sure they weren't on drugs because they were turned in for drugs. As a parent, what would you say if that happened to you? Would you be upset? What would you think of your neighbors if you knew which one of the neighbors it was that turned you in? What would you think of them? That's right. You wouldn't think much of them, would you? Well, you know, when a person goes out of state to get a protection order against you, and then you start having to pay fines because there's no way you can get away. In a town of 500, I'm just telling you, there's no safe haven for that family. They cannot, absolutely cannot go anywhere safely without having a problem over the protection order. That's right. Well, I don't know what else I could talk about other than you get an inkling of what's going on there. These attacks, not only are they on my channel, but two Lees in a pod take a beating every time they go on there. Volp now is involved in it. Michael Volp, his partner. Oh, they're getting their share of attacks too. Yeah, I looked at their channel and see they're following right over there, telling him off. And of course, he's not going to take it. He's a pro. Super Davis took his share of problems out there with him. Yeah, they hit him too. A guy named Guapo is getting nailed pretty good on a regular basis. Yeah, let's hope you people out there that are watching this, I guess you could say you're the silent majority. Let's hope this don't happen to you, because you won't be silent very long. You'll be up and fighting it too. You see, if the silent majority don't get up and stand up for some of these people that don't have the means to fight back, and everybody stands and watches, something happens to them, you can be as guilty as the one that perpetrated it just by watching. It isn't right what's happening to this family under any circumstance. It isn't right. Well, with that, I'm going to let you go. This DJ Radis and his channel, go ahead. That video is up there. It shows it. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. Looks just like it's Stalking to me. That's my opinion. I'm telling you, it looks like it. This is a very picture of it as far as I'm concerned. When people show up at a grocery store and more than once, I mean, it's happened 3 times so far in the last year or so, and start yelling at you for PO violation. Now, I'm going to tell you something. The Sheriff's Department has inspected, and I've seen the inspection for 4 times of violations that were turned in, and found there was no cause for the violations. No cause. But they were still found guilty in the Ohio courts. Guess Ohio don't give a damn what Florida thinks about what's going on, do they? Wow. It's hard for me to believe that you can go somewhere else and make somebody guilty. And that wasn't a country that I grew up in. It's just a country that I'm going to end up dying in. Lord help me. I never thought it would happen here, but it is. I've never seen so many despicable things done. I never thought I would live long enough to see that kind of stuff done. And I'm wondering why so many people stand around and allow it to happen. I grew up when people stopped that stuff from happening. They went out there and they did something about it. They didn't sit around talking about it. They did something about it. Sometimes you have to get a hold of the police and say, look, we have a neighbor here who's getting picked on, and they can't go uptown, and they can't go get groceries. And I wonder what would happen if one or two of you jumped in the Jeep with Michelle and John and with your cameras. And when these people showed up, you got out with your cameras and started taking pictures of them so that John and Michelle had outside people taking a look and taking pictures so that they had something to show the truth in the matter of what's going on. I wonder what would happen if that happened. What would happen if they went to the post office and several people in town went up the post office at the same time, and here come these people, they're saying violation, violation, and you got pictures of them on their way there. What would happen? What would happen? I don't know what would happen if everybody in town started worrying about those cameras that are up there taking pictures over the fence. These people have no privacy in their yard. None. It's on two sides of their property. One of the cameras is on the private property taking pictures of them. Well, actually, they're both sides. It's private property now that I think about it. And that's a two-party state. I wonder why the legal authorities are sitting on that. I guess it's okay if you have $1 million or $2 or $3 or $4 or whatever it is. You can do more things. I'm sure there's plenty of people in that town that have a set of balls. Unless it's maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's the women that have to get out there and say something about it. I don't know. It's not normal. I guess if it happens to your family, you get up and say something, won't you? But wait a minute. It has happened to several people out there. They are starting to pick on other people in Otter Creek. Have you noticed? When is he going to knock on your door? Oh, yeah, I did. I seen this one guy knocking on doors. Poor woman in there fell out of her bed trying to get to the door. She didn't feel well. Well, you know, it's her fault for falling out of the bed. It wasn't his fault for hammering on the door, trying to knock the door down. Oh, yeah. When a relative tried to stop him from doing it, he threatened the relative, didn't he? Yeah, I remember that video. Well, oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of incidents. I guess some people get away with stuff like that, don't they? Jeez. You know, now to think about it, this DJ Radis, I thought his visa had about run out, and somebody said, no, he got it renewed. I wonder what ICE thinks about people that stalk. You know, that video that was taken appeared on his channel, and he's the one writing about this family. I thought stalking was illegal. Oh, well. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Tell me. What do you think? Come on. Tell me. Well, see you.